Oh, I run it almost 2 times. Hello, everybody. Today we have our guest, Dr. KTap. Hi,
Hi,
how are you today?
I am wonderfully well today. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us. I'm excited about talking about the dimensions of your health.
Yes, I'm really excited to be here today so we can dive deep into it. And thank you for allowing me to share today. I appreciate it.
hmm Let's get right into it and let us know how you came up with the dimensions of health, or where do you took it from?
Right. We've all heard about holistic health and wellness, and each person has their own understanding of what that is. And what I found just throughout my life experiences and everything, that it's more than just thinking about, herbs, putting herbs into your diet. It's more than just nutrition. We really need to think about our health in all the different aspects of our lives in order for us to feel whole and complete. So I've always been on that journey for a very long time. Now I am in the space of, coaching and helping other women to do the same.
hmm And the way you take it, you have 8 dimensions, right? You have divided in eight.
Correct. There are 8 dimensions of health and wellness, and they're not mine. So I
Okay.
can't take credit for creating it. It's something that has been around for a very long time. And I just took it within the services that I provide because I can see the benefit of it. And so the different dimensions include, we're all familiar with, our physical health and wellness, right? And
hmm
we're also familiar with our mental health and wellness.
hmm
Those are just 2 out of the 8. The other ones include our spiritual health, right? Our financial health,
hmm
our occupational health, our intellectual health,
Okay.
right? Our environmental health and our social health. So those
hmm
are the 8 dimensions. And
hmm
why that's important is because we know that the different aspects of our lives are connected, but are we truly making those connections together? And so
hmm
that is something that is so important for us to do within our lives, make those connections so that we can actually feel that connection within ourselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. But a lot of people, they don't think about their health as like everything, all those dimensions in their life. They
Mhm.
just think about health as like how I feel physically, how I feel like, do I have a headache, this. But all those dimensions, they actually what create your general health.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why I'm really passionate about, speaking on many different platforms, just spreading that awareness so that we can think about our health differently. We're only thinking about it in 1 or 2 dimensions, and there are 8 dimensions to explore and connect. So that's,
Mhm.
so that's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. Let's stop a little bit on each of them. Let's start from which one do you have them which is more important and which is not, or I think they're all equally important.
They're all equally important. Sometimes what I usually do is start with what is familiar to people, right? So that would be, their physical health, their mental health. But what I would say is at the core of all of the different aspects or dimensions of health is really the unseen, which is our spiritual health.
hmm
That is at the core of each and every one of those other dimensions.
hmm
Mhm.
So how you integrate them all?
So the way how I integrate it is to, because I do both individual as well as group coaching. And so with the individual, when I am doing one-on-ones, I really figure out, okay, what is the problem that they are coming to me with?
hmm
And I pick apart the things that they need to work on and then put those pieces of the puzzle together, right? So let's say, for example, someone comes to me and they're really feeling anxious, about something.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming to me with anxiety. And that anxiety is a part of the emotional wellness dimension, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what's really going on with him or her, usually it's females I work with, that's bringing on that anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So is it a financial problem that's causing the anxiety and the stress? Is it
Yep.
something at work, right? Coming from that
Mhm.
occupational wellness side? What is it? A combination? Majority of the time it's a combination, but one type of stressor usually overshadows something else. But really figuring out what are the pieces that need to come together in order to say, okay, this is at the root cause of what's causing your anxiety. Let's go deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me help you in that space,
Yeah,
right?
instead of just taking pills and like the way I see it, so taking pills sometimes it is needed, but most of the time it just takes away the problem temporarily, but doesn't fix it.
Very good point, Pirat, because, a lot of I'm a medical doctor, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So board certified in family medicine, trained at the Mayo Clinic. And yes, you're right. Pills do help, but that's not the whole picture, right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the times pills are there for symptomatic relief. But and that's important, right? If you're in
Mm-hmm.
pain and you're suffering, we want you to feel comfortable. But what's really going on underneath that is causing that pain? Is there something else that we can do for you outside of the pills?
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for us to think about that because, for me, I have been diagnosed with chronic end-stage renal disease for over 20 years. And so at the age of 19, I had to go on dialysis right away. I had to take pills that I never took before. I was previously healthy. So, all of that was different for me. So if I didn't take those pills, if I didn't do dialysis, I wouldn't be here today. Literally, I would not be here today.
Yeah.
So there is the importance of the Western traditional way of doing things, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just not the whole story. And that's why it's so important to look at things holistically. What's really going on? What are the different factors that are really affecting you and really depleting your inner sense of wholesomeness and well-being and peace?
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about now next for occupational dimension. What does that
Mhm.
really what that includes?
Great question. So, with the occupational dimension of health and wellness, whether you own your own business or you are working for someone, there are many different parts to it. So, what I will say here is is the environment at work in which you live really promoting your well-being?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is it a healthy environment within your workspace? The relationships within your workspace, is it very stressful for you? Because that is depleting your well-being, right? Now, we all have stress, we know that, but it is how we approach it. And I like to say how we calibrate our stress, not just cope with stress,
Mm-hmm.
is vital. So, just taking that moment, whoever is listening right now, to just assess where you are within your occupational health. Do you feel purposeful with the work that you're doing? Number one, right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel safe on a mental, even a physical level within your work environment? Is the environment your like literal desk space
Mm-hmm.
helping with your well-being? Right. So you can see with just the occupational dimension how I've integrated the environmental with it,
Mm-hmm.
the emotional with it, the stress that we're talking about before, right? The social relationships within the occupational space. So even though we were just talking about the occupational dimension, there is still that connection with those other dimensions of wellness within your workspace.
Hmm. But most people, they don't think of like they can change their workspace. So how they can adjust or just like make themselves feel better in that work environment that they actually don't, it's not exactly what they're expecting yet. Maybe it
Right.
was something that they had to do, or they have to do now, or something like this, and they have goals of doing something else later on. But how can they adjust to it in the moment?
Very good question. It's so important for us to feel and experience joy whenever we can, right? That puts
Mhm.
us in a good mood. So, for example, one of the things that, people can think about are things that can bring them joy in the moment. I'll give some
Mhm.
examples. For example, listening to music when you can
Mhm.
in your work environment, making sure that the space around you, again, your desk, your office, is bringing that sense of well-being for you, right?
Mhm.
I love talking about the connection with your health and nature. Nature is one of
Mhm.
our greatest teachers if we're willing to learn from nature. So bringing in a plant. If you're not a green thumb, okay, maybe you start with a fake plant, but just the sense of connecting with nature, it just brings you peace. A lot of
Yes.
people say that, I love the water, I love listening to the water, I love looking at the water, because that brings that sense of calmness and, flow and just kind of settling down, right? So
Mhm.
those are some of the things you can change the environment within the workspace, your immediate environment, like where you work.
Mhm.
So if a certain color makes you happy, make sure that you're seeing that color, right? You
Yeah,
can
that's
put,
great advice.
that's a good idea, right? If you're into affirmations, just to remind you of certain things when you get stressed out, you put those affirmations up around your desk or your computer, right? Taking a deep breath right where you are. That is something we completely forget, that we're breathing without thinking about it. But if we are controlling our breathing and just do 5 deep breaths in and out, right before you go to a meeting or when you get stressed out,
Mhm.
those little things make a big difference. So those are some of the things that you can do in the moment. But again, I will stress the importance of, assessing where you are within your occupational wellness to see if it's somewhere where you want to stay, something you can change with where you are, or if there's a different vision that you have for yourself that you might not be able to do right now, but at least you have that vision and you can start making plans to get towards that vision so that you don't feel stuck. Sometimes we feel very limited where we are, and there are endless possibilities, and it's for us to realize that so that we can move towards something different, so we can have a different experience.
Mhm. Well, I have this question now. Which one of those, with your patients, when you see which one of those dimensions are that people pay the less attention to, that
Good
you
question.
notice?
Good question. So for my clients, I would say that it varies, but I would say that for some of them, it would be their two of them: spiritual wellness and environmental wellness. We're not really thinking about that and how that affects
Mhm.
our health.
Yeah.
And changing our environment, even if it's something small, can make a instantaneous difference in how we experience things.
Hmm. How are their relationships go? Which dimensions their relationships go? Do they have their own dimension, or they
That's really categorized under social wellness. So it's really the same
social
thing.
wellness?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
So how is that contributes to general, let's say, physical health? How is physical health and social dimension connected? I want to point that I kind of know, but I wanted you to point it out for the viewers so they will
Yes,
understand.
yes. I love that question. I've never been asked that question. So one of the ways that that comes to me right now where they can be related is, for example, if one of your intentions or one of your goals is to be more physically well, you can
Mhm.
blend that with your social wellness by having an accountability partner or someone just checking in on you, going to walk together, doing some movement together. That's one of the ways that you can combine the two together.
Yeah,
Just want
that's
to
really
say
good idea. That's like I was thinking. Like I kind of like when I was asking a question, I was like, you probably know the answer for that too. Like,
Is that what you were thinking as well?
no, I was not thinking. I was interested that the question came to my mind, and I was like interested to see what you're saying. And now I see how if you have somebody who will do the exercise or something with you, so now that taking care of your physical body is social activity.
Absolutely. And, having a support system that inspires and uplifts you is so important on this wellness journey. Again, we are human beings. We are on this earth together. We're not here to do things alone. And sometimes we feel, especially as women, we feel as if we have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. It's almost automatic. Just speaking from experience, personal experience, as well as, my clients and my previous patients as well. And I have to constantly remind people that it's okay to not just ask for help, but also accept it when people ask to say, hey, do you need something?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we kind of feel weak when we either ask for help or when we accept help. And that's not the case. It takes a village to raise a child. We've probably all heard that saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
It also takes a village to support and empower each other.
Yeah, I think so
That
too.
doesn't end with just the kiddos. It
Mm-hmm.
continues.
Yeah, I think I like that you pointed it out. It's not just for kids; it's for like adults the same way. It needs for a healthy adult. We need to like have that community around for that adult to be uh, functioning in all the levels. So I wanted to point out as well one thing that I want to talk with you. So many people get caught up in their the whatever the illness they have or something that they are, and
Hmm.
they get so caught up in that, so that becomes their life.
Yes,
So they
yes,
just live like all their mind. They wake up in the morning thinking like, okay, I have this thing, and then they just all they go with it, and then they go for years and years. They just all they the mind is occupied with just being that sickness.
yes, yes. And that's so easy to get stuck in that mental way of thinking. And one thing that I will say is it first starts with the realization and understanding that you are not defined by your illness.
Mm-hmm.
You are not defined by your diagnosis. You're not defined by it.
Yeah.
But we have to truly understand that it's a part of our lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're not defined. That doesn't identify with who we are. It's a part of our experience. And so we have to make sure that we separate those two. And once we're able to separate it's a small shift, but a very transformational perspective to have. Once you're able to do that, then you are no longer just thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to see things differently. I actually have a book that's coming out later this summer called You Are Greater Than Your Diagnosis. And so I go through 10 steps
Mm-hmm.
to allow people that are going through an illness to really know how to shift their perspective so that they can live a fulfilling and meaningful life despite having an illness. So super excited
Mm-hmm.
about that.
So yeah, so kind of the same thing when they have the illness, not to make it become their life. So when right now is May 2024. So for the viewers who are looking watching it years later, so when is the book coming out?
Right. So the book will be coming out this summer, 2024. Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
by August, it will be out. More details to come on that. Truly excited. I'm kind
Yeah.
of wrapping up things now with the editing and the printing and all of that. So yes, it will be coming out this summer, 2024.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll come back to talk more about that book. And it is about the topic. The way I understand that was about the topic that I brought up, that how to not be stuck with your diagnosis and live your
Absolutely.
life still full life with your whatever that is that you're.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. It's exactly that. You are greater than your diagnosis. That's just a powerful statement to
Mm-hmm.
say and to feel and to know. So I'll be happy to come back on here when the book is out to share it with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Because
Hmm.
that's what people get stuck in. And same way people get stuck with just thinking about their health as, I have this sickness, I have that sickness, or this hurts, or that hurts, or I have low back pain, even just like simple, I have low back pain. But they
Hmm.
don't understand those dimensions where there's so much
Hmm.
more to it than just, I have lower back pain.
Absolutely. And there's one thing that I will say. I'm happy that you said that. It's that, what you focus on expands
Okay, in a health wise. Because
in
I
any
always think
way.
about it like in your goals. I knew that in your goals or something that you do in life, but I never thought about it like in health.
Yes.
So it
So
works the same way
what
in
you
your health.
focus on expands, and that's in just in anything in life. But here we're talking about health, right? So if you're
Hmm.
focused on your back pain, you're going to experience more back pain because that is what you're focused on,
Oh, okay.
right? So
Yeah.
let's give a very simple example, right? You are just standing in line at the grocery store and you are talking with someone and you don't even realize that someone had stepped on your foot
Hmm.
until someone tells you, hey, what happened there? And then you feel the pain.
Okay.
And then you focus on the pain. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
about shifting what you're focusing on. That is so
Hmm.
important.
Yes. Actually, now when you're talking about, that's what I notice when people they just they feel, they don't even look for a solution because they get so comfortable feeling that pain. It's just like you were saying, it's always in their mind. It's just like, I have this thing, I have this thing, I have this thing. It's just like paying their mind, and
Hmm.
then they miss up and all the other things in their life.
Exactly. You're really not living if that's all you're focused on. You're really missing out on life if you're
Hmm.
just focused on this one thing. And as you said, not trying to find another way, finding a solution. Now, I'm not saying that the pain is going to go away if you shift your focus
Yeah.
on something else, right? But you will be able to experience life in a different way if you're not focused on that one thing that's causing you problems. But
Hmm.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. I know we're wrapping up soon, but here's the thing is that if you are only focusing on that, I want people to ask themselves, okay, what am I missing out on?
So they I like, explain it to me better. I'm trying to figure out like what does it
So
mean. So
it's,
I was like trying to like get into it. It's like, okay,
so it's
so
like say
wow.
you're stepping back to say, okay, I know I've been focusing on this thing for a while, but
Hmm.
what if I didn't? What else could I be experiencing in life?
Oh, I
What am
see.
I missing out on because I'm focused on this thing?
And I think that's when they're gonna need a coach or help,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you're so into already seeing things in one way, and then you need somebody from outside and come from outside and show you those other things and other dimensions and all the things that.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I see also why people need to have somebody else to come in and show it to them, unless some people are able to find it themselves as well. or like read or watch some interview like this. They will watch that and they start thinking about it. But that's a good thing.
Yes, yes. Someone that can see your blind spots, right? We don't know
Mhm.
everything, and
Mhm.
that's okay. We have to accept that. And again, as I had said before, it's okay to accept help, right? If
Mhm.
you don't know everything,
Exactly.
what are you gonna do? You're gonna stay where you are, or you're gonna seek help with someone who knows what they're talking about and has had the results. That part is so if you're gonna seek help from a mentor, coach, teacher, whomever, just make sure that you trust them, right? You get a certain energy from them, right?
Mhm.
They know what they're talking about, right? And they have results to prove it. Those things are important.
Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. So I would think just not to focus anymore on just one thing because it's a health wise.
Hmm.
Start looking at all the things around in your life,
Hmm.
all the dimensions.
Yes, exactly. So if you get anything from this conversation today, start today to just be more of an observer of your life.
Hmm. Let's bring out just to close. We're gonna start closing up, but let's bring out all the dimensions one more time with dimension and like one sentence about it. If you have
Okay.
something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we will start with what we are all familiar with, right? The physical health and wellness. So really think about your movement on a daily basis, as well as
Mhm.
what you are consuming. What are you putting into your body? Making sure
Mhm.
that is healthy, that they're more living things, I will say, aka fruits and vegetables, that you are putting into your body. We are living beings, we need to eat more living foods. So that's what I will say with that.
Mhm.
Next is your mental and emotional wellness. I'll put those two together, right?
Mhm.
Really assess where you are with your mental space. What is occupying your mental space? What are you consuming on a daily basis, right?
Mhm.
And is it uplifting you or is it dragging you down, like when we watch the news, right?
Mhm.
So, really assessing that. So, that's one thing that I would say with regards to emotional and mental well-being. Really assess where you are and see if that's where you want to stay, and knowing that there
Mhm.
is you can have a different experience. All right, you don't have to stay stuck, right?
Yeah.
Number three, I will say your spiritual wellness. That's something that we're not thinking about on a daily basis. And that is something where it connects with, I will say this. Some people put spiritual wellness and religion together. They're not the same. They're connected, but they are not the same. I will say that. Someone needed to hear that. But with
Mhm.
spiritual wellness, it's about connecting more with who you truly are
Mhm.
and ways that you can do that. And I will say this, being more still and more silent, finding things that you enjoy is going to help more with your spiritual wellness. That's a whole other topic. That's probably a whole other book.
Mhm.
Next, we will do occupational wellness. We kind of dove into it a little bit deeper in this conversation. But things that you can do right away is just change your immediate environment so that you can feel well with where you're working. But then also assessing if where you're working is purposeful for you. That's
Mhm.
what I would say there. All right. Financial wellness, I would say that's also something that we don't think about as much and how that ties into the other aspects of our well being.
Mhm.
But financial wellness, a lot of times we don't want to even talk about it, right? It's like taboo to talk about that.
Mhm.
But if you feel stressed, see where that ties to. Is it tied to your financial wellness at all? But getting your finances in order, and first step is knowing what your financial income and expenditures are is
Mhm.
important, right? So just being aware of where you're starting from with that, okay?
Mhm.
And seeing if there's any stress related with that. All right, so that's financial wellness. Environmental wellness, we kind of touched on that already, but starting with your home, right? Do you feel homey within your home?
Mm-hmm.
Are there things that you can do to reorganize? I like to say declutter, delete, and donate.
What's the last one?
Donate. What can you donate? What can you give away?
Right. Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Within your space. You want your home to feel homey as much as
Yep.
possible. You might not be able to control everything, especially the people in it necessarily, but there are things that you can do within your space to feel that wellness and well-being, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. Which one am I missing out? Social/relational wellness,
Mm-hmm.
right? Finding that support system that's going to uplift you, motivate you, keep you accountable for where you want to be, right? The relationships that you have should help to inspire you, to elevate you, to help you to evolve to the next level and the next version of yourself. So that
Mm-hmm.
might not necessarily be your family members or friends.
Exactly.
That's important to know, right? We all have
Mm-hmm.
those family members, we all have those friends. But there's ways that you can navigate those relationships with boundaries, right? But you can
Yeah.
also
Yeah. Always is.
intentionally seek out support. So whether it is a women's group virtually or in person, volunteering in the community to connect with other people, all of those different things are very, very helpful, right? I think we went through all of them. Intellectual is the last one.
Intellectual, yes.
Yes. And that one is for you to grow within your mental space,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that just is about evolution, right? So if you want to learn a new language, you want to learn about a different country, you want to learn a new skill, all of those, you read more, listen to Audible, all of those things, have a intellectual conversational. There we're connecting with
Mm-hmm.
relational social health, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is really important. And, for, all the things that we're hearing about, dementia and all of that, focusing on your intellectual well-being is one of the ways that you can help with preventing that, like stimulating your mind, not just watching TV.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because when when you mentioned watching just TV, it's just I don't I think it takes away if you randomly just watch whatever comes on, it takes
Mhm.
away from your well-being.
It
Because
does.
then you let it give you whatever advertising and whatever things instead of you selecting what you actually want to watch.
Yes, need to be intentional. Such a good point. Because if you're watching the news, it goes back to what I was saying about your emotional wellness, right? What are you consuming?
Yeah.
Because trust me, it's impacting your well-being, whether
Hmm.
you're conscious of it or not.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
let's close up as well. Thank you so much, Dr. KTap. And now I'm going to ask a few more questions. But first, I want to tell the viewers that you have to understand that your health is not just your physical or your mental health. All your life together is what making you healthy or unhealthy. So that's why a lot of doctors now and Dr. KTAP as well, they have been changed to holistic health where they combine everything together to give you a healthy life. So
Absolutely.
any last words before we close as well?
Yes, I will say that your wellness is within you.
Mm, that's great.
Your wellness is within you. So you might not understand what that means, but I'm just going to leave it at that.
Mhm. Okay, cool.
Something to think about as we end this conversation.
Uh-huh. And since I'm the happiness expert, I want to ask you, as I ask most of my guests all the time as well. What is happiness personally for you? Not what people
Mm.
think it means, but what happiness means for you.
Happiness for me means that I am feeling elevated within myself. I'm feeling connected. there is a sense of fulfillment and freedom. There is no space for worry or anxiety. It's almost as if I'm feeling light as a cloud.
Mhm.
And there's a specific feeling that I have when I know I'm in that state. And apart from feeling light as a cloud, it's me feeling like I just want to get up and dance. I've been a dancer all my life, and so that is my thing. Like if I know that I'm at that state, I just want to get up and dance or have that feeling of
Mhm.
that spirit of dancing within me.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way you describe it. Well, good. Thank you so much for this information, and hopefully we're gonna see you again. And for the viewers, all the information for Dr. KTap is in the description. So get in contact, send her your contact information and everything like this. And also, hopefully, you're gonna be back when your book is out. And we, for the viewers who are watching, get her book from probably gonna be anywhere. Just type it in Google. But say the name of your book again so people can look it up.
The name of the book is titled "You Are Greater Than Your Diagnosis."
Okay. Very good. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who watched. And don't forget to subscribe and have a beautiful day.
Yes, that was good.